Khabib Nurmagomedov is currently trending because he just did a brand new interview again, stirring the pot with Conor McGregor. We're going to take a look at the clip and we're going to take a look at a bunch of replies over from Paul Hughes. Khabib ended up piping up back again, and we're here talking about Dagestan versus Ireland. We're going to cover all of that for you today. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I'm your guy with too many YouTube channels. Let me bring you over to this initial clip by championship rounds, and we're just going to watch this clip of Khabib Nurmagomedov talking. I don't know where he did the interview, but regardless, it doesn't matter. This is what has been all over the place.
Ireland don't have fighters, but let's be honest. How many fighters do you know from Ireland?
I mean, like, huge names, but there are Irish fighters. Like, off the top of my head, obviously, Conor McGregor, Ian Gary. To be honest with you, I wouldn't have thought of Paul Hughes until Paul Hughes actually said something. But, yeah, Dagestan's better and has produced more fighters, but what about the numbers? Like, if you want to include all of Russia, what about the numbers? Obviously, they're going to have more and better fighters.
Paul Hughes and Conor, and who else? There is no fighter, but you can Dagestan, you can understand. You know, so many organizations, they don't even sign Dagestan fighters because they worry about, like, everybody can become champion.
Yeah, because they are absolutely steamrolling everybody in the sport. But I personally find that fascinating. I don't know why that bums everybody out.
But Dagestan, and let's be honest, Dagestan level of MMA here. But Ireland level, not even half of Dagestan level.
Unfortunately, Khabib seems to be right in this case. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the culture. I don't know if it's specifically what they do in their training. And I know you're probably going to comment down below and say PEDs, but of course, we can't exactly back that with evidence. But the reality of the world right now is that Dagestan is absolutely producing the best fighters. When comparing it to Ireland or pretty well any other part in the world, obviously they're better. But I don't know why Khabib said that. Maybe I need to look a little bit more into the interview. But the drama continues just a little bit. Paul Hughes ended up quoting it and said, "Conor made you famous." I actually don't know what to think about this one because there's a lot of people that have been talking about this on, like, Khabib's only has a name because of Conor. But Khabib went on to be such a dominant fighter. He would have been the champion. Would he have reached the same level of superstardom? I'm actually not too sure. My gut would have said no because Conor had the pull. But then again, Conor had everybody watching MMA in general, and Khabib was making a good name for himself. I just am unsure if Khabib would actually be the star that he is without McGregor, but I'm open to being wrong on that one. Like, I'm not sitting here and saying that as, like, fact. The only reason Khabib has a name, the only reason he has a career is because, not a career, but you get the point. What Paul Hughes said, I could see being correct, and I could also see being incorrect. So I would love to know what you guys think about that down below. But Khabib actually ended up responding to that. This is what he had to say. "You can say whatever you want, but if we're talking about facts, you can't compare Irish fighters with fighters from Dagestan. We dominate amateur MMA, and it's not even close. Not just compared to Irish fighters, but the whole world. I'm absolutely confident that if we were to move to organize a team versus team matchup, Dagestan would defeat a world team in amateur MMA. And when it comes to professional MMA, we have champions, contenders, and ranked fighters in every MMA league. Show me Irish fighters who are currently title contenders in the top 3 MMA promotions. At best, you might be able to name 1 or 2 fighters. The facts speak for themselves." Khabib is right. Khabib is absolutely right. Sorry, I do a jump cut. My dog wanted to play with me. I don't know if you guys were watching my camera over there. I don't know. Yeah, I was probably picking her up, but regardless. Before I keep talking about this, I'm not saying this like this is a bad thing because you have a lot of people who really don't like the fact that MMA is being dominated by Dagestani fighters right now. I find it fascinating. Whatever they're doing and how much it's working. And I think it's a myth that all Dagestanis want to do is wrestle and hug you. There's a lot of fantastic fighters over from Dagestan, and they're only getting more well-rounded as their careers continue on. I find it fascinating, like fighters like Khabib, who are so dominant and people are unable to do anything against them. I like seeing that technique. I like seeing that kind of greatness in the octagon. And I do enjoy good grappling exchanges. Part of the aura that comes in with some of these Dagestani fighters, right? It's cool to see, in my opinion. But Khabib is right. Khabib is right. I mostly think that I want to say it's because of numbers. I want to say, of course, like what did Khabib say? 6 million versus 200 million? I don't know. Whatever it was. Like, I'm not familiar with the numbers over in each area. It would make sense for Russia to produce more and they'd be better. You're going to have a bigger pool to choose from. But why is it all of them seem to be so dominant? Is it their way of life? Perhaps it's religion? I don't know. And it's such an interesting topic. The Combat Sports Matrix here had this to say. That's facts. The only elite MMA fighters from Ireland are McGregor, Gary, and Hughes. The rest are low-level fighters. Whereas right now, there are several champs in MMA that are from Dagestan, Islam, Usman, etc. Love it or hate it, Dagestan produces some of the best MMA fighters ever. It's very true. Kamar Usman. But he is totally correct in saying that. I would add Ian Gary to that list. I agree. Ian Gary has proven himself to be a very, very capable fighter and potentially a future champion. Jalal had this to say, and Khabib made Conor irrelevant and made him a meme of the UFC. I disagree, actually. I disagree with that. Conor made a meme of himself by going down the rabbit hole and just drinking, partying, going crazy on Twitter, and just becoming a shell of his former self. I think Conor more so did that to himself. Losing to Khabib is nothing to be ashamed of. Combat Sports Matrix Sir had something else to say in the thread over here. Imagine saying that to Khabib when you haven't achieved anything in MMA. Khabib's little cousin is going to beat his ass. Khabib has cemented his legacy as one of the best lightweights ever, whilst this guy Hughes rejected the UFC to chase the money. Hughes is only famous in Ireland. Hey, another solid take from the Matrixer. Jake Gerber MMA had this to say. Love watching Jake Gerber's content. Team Dagestan would clean sweep Team Ireland in any and all realms of combat, and it's not even close. Fighters from Dagestan are mostly top of the food chain in any MMA promotion, either a top contender, champion, or future champion in the making. This is not even a debate. Irish fighters are barely existent in any top promotion right now. Khabib is only speaking facts. What am I supposed to add to that? What am I supposed to add to that? That's completely correct. And I mean, no disrespect to Irish fighters. I'm Irish myself. Like, I would think it's really cool to see another Irish prospect come up. But in comparison to anybody from Dagestan, it's pretty well non-existent. Now, Ireland has fighters. Dagestan has crotch sniffers. Fix it for you. This is just not the case. I don't understand why people say this nowadays. Like, see, knockout of the day posted Shara Magomedov. But then they'll come back and say, oh, well, so one fighter. But no, more and more fighters are becoming more and more well-rounded. And you're even seeing the case, like, what about Khabib and McGregor? Khabib, when he struck with McGregor, arguably won that round. I know I'd have to watch it again to see who actually won the round, but I think the judges gave it to Conor. Regardless, when these guys choose to strike, they are performing quite well. Yeah, you know what? You still have a couple Dagestani fighters who are pretty one-dimensional, just wanting to wrestle, and then I don't want to say they're lost on the feet, but they can't compete against like a top level striker. But now you're having guys like Said Nurmagomedov. You're having guys like Umar Nurmagomedov, Islam Makhachev. Like, they are growing and evolving as fighters, and that's such an out of date thing to say. Show me one Dagestani fighter who can win a fight with his fists. Again, ridiculous thing to say. That's all the type of stuff that you're seeing. I don't understand, and I don't even want to come over here, guys. Like, I'm not one of those guys. And I know that just makes me sound like an a-hole either way, because I want to say I'm not one of those guys who just is defending Dagestani fighters no matter what. There's a whole line of people doing that, and I mean, I don't think that they should be hated at all, but there's also a bunch of group of people who are just hating on them no matter what, and then I have to sit here and be like, well, I'm in the middle, and like be one of those like entitled or like intellectual centrist guys where it's like, it's such a horrible topic to talk about on either side. Like, it just depends on the individual. But it's true, it does depend on the individual. I personally don't care about nationality. I don't care about nationality as much as most people. Like, for example, like, I don't care where a fighter's from. I know we're diving a little bit off topic here, but I don't care who. I don't necessarily cheer for the Canadian guy. I'm Canadian. I look at the fighter. If I like watching the fighter, I don't get it, man. I know that was a little bit off topic, but I hope that I didn't come off like one of those people who are just like defending the Dagestani fighters no matter what. You know how people can get a little bit overboard doing that. I love watching them fight. I find it fascinating that they're producing the best fighters in the entire world, and Khabib Nurmagomedov was completely correct in what he said. Would I love to see an Irish MMA fighter come up and get another piece of stardom? I would love to see that. I'm Irish myself. I think it'd be pretty cool. I always like joke around with my dad because my dad's Italian, my mom's Irish, and we're like, that's my people. Every time McGregor was, I was like, that's my people, Dad. We always watch fights together, and my dad would just kind of shake his head at me. It's kind of funny. So I would like to see it, but I would love to also know what you guys think about this down below in the comment section. Thank you very, very much for being here. If you want to continue watching the channel, though, guys, why don't you check out this video on screen? YouTube thinks that you will like this video the best. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Take care.